Hi everyone, my name is Di Liu. Today I will be talking about our work on label super resolution for 3D magnetic resonance images using Deformable U-net. We know state-of-the-art deep learning methods for image segmentation require high-resolution atlas image and label pairs for training. However, generally, in order to achieve very high-resolution MR images with adequate signal-to-noise ratio, the acquisition time must be very long, which costs money and can lead to both patient discomfort and motion artifacts. As a consequence of this trade-off, it is quite common in both clinical and research practice to acquire MR images with high in-plane resolution but lower through-plane resolution. So here comes the problem. Given a segmentation label LZ obtained from the low-resolution image IZ, can we find its high-resolution counterpart L without giving any external high-resolution data? Here is an example of a 3D low-resolution MR image. It has in-plane slice with high resolution, but through-plane slices with low resolution. Here, our basic idea is to train a network utilizing the high-resolution information from the in-plane slices, and then we try to apply the network to the through-plane slices. And next, we combine the estimated label slices through data fusion methods. However, there's a problem. Because the anatomy difference between the in-plane and through-plane data are huge, so we cannot just train on the in-plane slices and then apply to another slice, like the sagittal and coronal slices. Here, we present a deformable U-net to solve this problem. Our target here is to teach a U-net how to evolve a 2D label from the low resolution to high resolution, given axial data as supervision. This means we do not use any high-resolution atlas data for supervision, and we only rely on the high-resolution information from the axial slice of the low-resolution images. In other words, the network is trained to deform an initial contour to match the high-resolution object boundary. In the network, there are two inputs. The first one is the image slice, and the second one is the input label. And there is one output called the output label. There is a difference between the input label and the output label. The output label is one step closer to the ground truth, and the input label is one step away from the output label. Here, geometric deformations are applied to the atlas label to generate this synthetic data for training. I will explain in more details in the next slides. Here, we use the normal pressure hydrocephalus ventricle dataset as an example to show how we created those synthetic training data. Start from the ground truth, we take the ground truth as the output label of the first training sample, and then we shift it by 1 pixel, and we get the input label of the first training sample. The ground truth and its shift version become one pair of the training data, and the target of the first training sample is to let the network learn how to evolve from the 1 pixel shifted version to the ground truth. Similarly, we take the input label of the training sample 1 as the output of the training sample 2, and then we shift it by another 1 pixel, and we get the input label of the second training sample. So, the target of the second training sample is to let the network learn how to evolve from the 2 pixel shifted version to the 1 pixel shifted version. And then, similarly, we create many other samples to build the synthetic training data. Here is the framework of our 3D label super resolution method. What we have as inputs of the framework are the low-resolution image and label pairs. Firstly, we do an interpolation to the low-resolution image and make all the voxels isotropic, and then we extract the in-plane slices from the low-resolution image and label pairs. And we get axial plane image and label pairs. And then we create a synthetic training data and feed them into the Deformable U-net, and we get the predicted high-resolution axial label. On the other hand, we first implement a self-super-resolution framework called SPIE to predict the high-resolution image. and then we extract the through-plane slices from the predicted high-resolution image and the low-resolution label, and we get the sagittal and the coronal label on the image pairs, and then we feed all of them to the trained deformable U-net, and we get the predicted sagittal and coronal labels. After all, we use the label fusion method to combine all the 3 plane label slices and get a reconstructed label. As for the network structure, the deformable network can be any segmentation network that uses atlases, but in this work, a 2D U-net architecture was employed. As for the dataset, we used the normal pressure hydrocephalus ventricle data to train the network. The resolution of the NPH ventricle data has a resolution of 0.8 times 0.8 times 0.8 millimeters. The high-resolution labels are manually annotated on the high-resolution images. We totally used 20 cases, 30 for training, 3 for validation, and 4 for testing. In order to generate the low-resolution dataset, we use the downsampling method with a scale factor of 3. Firstly, we apply FFT for the high-resolution image, and then we multiply a rectangular function with a certain scale. In our experiment, we used a scale factor of 3, and then we multiply a Fermi filter to avoid the window ringing. At last, we apply IFFT to restore the image. The low-resolution labels are manually annotated on the low-resolution images. Here are the results. The first 2 columns are the low-resolution image and the label pairs. The third column is the ground truth. We compiled our deformable U-net with the DeepSnake method. It is a state-of-the-art deep learning-based deformable model. We can see in the figure that our method has a better result than the DeepSnake method. We totally used 100 iterations for the topology check in testing. It requires a processing time of about 2 hours. Here are some numerical comparisons. Firstly, we compiled the 2D dice score in all the 3 axial, sagittal, and coronal views using different methods. From the table, we can see that our deformable U-net gets better results on all the 3 views compared to the traditional U-net and the DeepSnake methods. And secondly, we compiled the 3D dice and ISIM score using different label fusion methods. We used the majority vote and the staple methods for the label fusion methods. And from the table, we can see that using the staple method, our 3D label super resolution network gets the best result. Finally, as for the conclusion, the label super resolution method provides a way to reconstruct the high resolution labels, only relying on low resolution image and label pairs. And further works are necessary to understand the limitations and optimizing the deformable U-net structure. Also, more deformations can be included in the training data creation process for better robustness of the network. Finally, the topology check can sometimes be very slow as the iteration increases. However, optimization or randomness approaches can be used to accelerate this processing. That's all. Thanks for watching.